The transport ship slowly came down through Earth's thick atmosphere. Inside the ship, 12 alien students pressed against the windows to look at their new home for the next year. They had come from different worlds across the galaxy to study. On Terra, as part of the Galactic Educational Consortium Special Program. Zix, Ka was a Zephyrian. Her body looked like living crystal that changed colors when she moved. She spoke by making musical sounds that other Zephyrians could understand perfectly. Right now, her crystal body was flashing nervous purple lights as she stared down at the planet below. Next to her sat Thrumvek, a Vorthek. He looked like a large insect with 4 arms and big black eyes. His people were very smart and always thought about things in a logical way. The Vorthek lived in groups where everyone shared the same thoughts. Thrumvek kept clicking his mouth, parts together as he tried to understand what he was seeing. On the other side of the ship, Aquilin floated in a special water tank. She was a Kelani, and her people lived in the oceans of their homeworld. Her blue skin had silver patterns that moved like waves. She used her long tentacle arms to touch the glass of her tank while she watched the planet get bigger and bigger. All the students had read the official files about Terra before they came. Every single file said the same thing. Terra was listed as a Deathworld Class 7. This was one of the most dangerous types of planets in the galaxy. The files said the planet had extreme weather, dangerous animals, and many other deadly things. Most aliens would never even think about visiting such a place, but the Galactic Educational Consortium had picked these 12 students because they were the best and brightest from their worlds. They were here to study how life could survive on such a terrible planet. The scientists back home wanted to know how any intelligent species could live on a death world. The ship landed at what humans called New York International Spaceport. As the students got off the ship, they looked around in confusion. They had expected to see a small, rough settlement where humans barely survived. Instead, they saw huge buildings made of glass and metal reaching up into the sky. Flying vehicles moved between the buildings in perfect patterns. Everything looked clean and organized. A human woman walked up to meet them. She was wearing simple clothes and had a big smile on her face. She looked completely relaxed and happy. "Welcome to Earth," she said in perfect galactic standard language. "I'm Dr. Sarah Chun. I'll be your guide and teacher while you're here." The alien students looked at each other in surprise. Dr. Chun did not look like someone who had spent her life fighting to survive on a deadly planet. She looked healthy, and Com.Z made a few musical notes that translated to, "Dr. Chun, we were told that Terra is a Class 7 death world. But this place looks very advanced. How is this possible?" Dr. Chun laughed. It was a warm, friendly sound. "Oh, that old classification. Yes, I suppose the paperwork still says that. It's just bureaucratic nonsense, really. Some clerk, probably, made an error a long time ago, and no one bothered to fix it." Thrumvek's logical mind was having trouble with this information, but the official records from the Galactic Survey show extreme weather patterns, seismic activity, and dangerous biological forms. "Well," Dr. Chun said as she led them toward a large vehicle, "the weather can be a bit exciting sometimes. Today is actually quite nice. The winds are only about 40 miles per hour, and we haven't had any earthquakes since yesterday morning. Just a small one, though, barely a 4.2 on our scale." The alien students stopped walking. 40-mile-per-hour winds would be considered a major storm on most of their home worlds. An earthquake of any size would cause panic and evacuations. Dr. Chun noticed they had stopped. "Oh, don't worry. This is unusually calm weather for this time of year. Usually the winds are much stronger, and we get more seismic activity. You picked a great week to arrive." Echolin's tentacles curled with worry. "Dr. Chun, what do you mean by usually much stronger?" "Well, during storm season, the winds can get up to 150 miles per hour or more. And in earthquake season, we sometimes get several big ones in a single day. But that's normal, nothing to worry about." The students climbed into the transport vehicle, which Dr. Chun called a bus. As they traveled toward the university, Dr. Chun pointed out different things through the windows. "That's our emergency shelter system," she said, pointing to what looked like normal buildings. "Every building in the city can become a complete survival shelter in under 5 minutes. We have enough supplies stored to keep everyone alive for months if needed." "Why would you need months of supplies?" asked Zixka. "Oh, the usual things. Hurricanes, tornadoes, blizzards, floods, volcanic eruptions. Sometimes the supply ships can't get through for a while." Dr. Chin said this like she was talking about the weather. The alien students were beginning to realize that maybe the bureaucratic error was not an error at all. The bus stopped at a red light. Dr. Chun pointed to a group of human children playing in a park nearby. "Look at that. The local school is having outdoor classes today. The children love it when the weather is this mild." The alien students watched human children running around and laughing. These children were playing outside in weather that would require emergency shelters on most worlds. They were not just surviving, they were having fun. "Dr. Chun," Thrumvex said carefully, "how do you define severe weather on your world?" "Oh, severe weather is when we have to cancel outdoor activities, like when we get Category 5 hurricanes or F5 tornadoes, or when the temperature drops below -40 degrees. That kind of thing." The students had no words. A Category 5 hurricane was the kind of storm that could destroy entire cities on their worlds. These humans talked about such things like they were minor inconveniences. The bus arrived at Terra University. The campus was beautiful, with green spaces and modern buildings. Students walked around carrying books and talking to each other. Everything looked normal and peaceful. Dr. Chun led them to their dormitory. "Here's where you'll be staying. Each room has its own emergency supplies, communication equipment, and basic survival gear. Standard stuff that every human living space has." She opened a closet in one of the rooms. Inside were gas masks, emergency food that could last for weeks, water purification tablets, thermal blankets, and various tools and equipment. "What are all these things for?" asked Aquilin. "Just everyday emergency supplies. You never know when you might need them. Last month we had a small chemical leak from a factory, so everyone needed to wear masks for a few hours. And these thermal blankets are great when the power goes out during winter storms." The alien students were starting to understand something important. These humans lived every day prepared for disasters that would be considered apocalyptic events on other worlds. And they called it normal life. Dr. Chun checked her watch. "Well, I should let you get settled in. Tomorrow we'll start with orientation, and then we'll begin your studies. Oh, and don't worry if you hear the emergency sirens tonight. We're just testing the tornado warning system. They test it every week to make sure it works properly." As Dr. Chun left, the 12 alien students stood in their rooms and looked at each other with growing alarm. They were beginning to suspect that Terra's classification as a death world was not a mistake at all. These humans had simply learned to live with dangers that would terrify the rest of the galaxy. And this was just their first day. The next morning started with a loud, sharp sound that made all the alien students jump. It was a piercing noise that seemed to come from everywhere at once. Zixka's crystal body flashed bright red with alarm. Thrumvex's 4 arms clicked together. Rapidly, Aquilin's tentacles wrapped around herself in her water tank. The sound was coming from speakers all over the university campus. Then a calm human voice spoke over the noise. "Attention all students and staff, this is a fire drill. Please exit all buildings using your designated emergency routes. This is only a drill. Please move quickly but do not run." The alien students had no idea what a fire drill was, but they could see human students all around them starting to move. The humans looked completely relaxed. Many of them were still talking and laughing as they walked toward the exits. Dr. Chun appeared in the hallway of their dormitory. She was carrying a clipboard and looked perfectly calm. "Good morning, everyone," she said cheerfully. "Perfect timing. You get to experience your first Terran emergency protocol on your second day here. How exciting." "Emergency protocol?" Aquilin asked through her tank's speaker system. Is there actual danger? Oh no, this is just practice, Dr. Chun explained as she guided them toward the nearest exit. We do this every month to make sure everyone remembers what to do in case of a real emergency. The alien students followed the stream of humans leaving the building. They were amazed by what they saw. Thousands of students and staff were leaving dozens of buildings all across the campus. Everyone moved in the same direction without confusion. No one was pushing or shoving. No one looked scared. Thrumvek timed the process with his internal chronometer. Dr. Chun, this entire building was emptied in 32 seconds. How is this possible? Dr. Chun smiled proudly. The students here are pretty good at emergency procedures. Of course, this is just a basic fire drill. Much easier than our other emergency exercises. Zixka's musical tone sounded worried. Well, we practice for all sorts of things. Earthquake drills, tornado drills, chemical spill protocols, lockdown procedures, evacuation plans for different types of disasters. Standard stuff. A human student standing nearby heard their conversation and joined in. His name was Mike, and he was studying engineering. Last week we had a great earthquake drill, Mike said excitedly. They simulated a 7.2 magnitude quake. The whole campus shook for almost 2 minutes. It felt so real. The alien students stared at him in horror. A 7.2 magnitude earthquake would completely destroy most cities on their home worlds. This human was talking about it like it was a fun game. They use big machines under the buildings to make them shake, Mike continued. It helps us practice what to do when the real ones hit, much better than just reading about it in books. The real ones? Equilin whispered. Oh yeah, Mike said. We get earthquakes here pretty regularly. Just last month we had a 6.8 that lasted about a minute and a half. Knocked a few things off my desk, but no big deal. Dr. Chun nodded. Mike's right. Seismic activity is quite common in this region. That's why we practice so much. Speaking of which, we should probably head to the designated assembly area. She led them to a large open space where thousands of humans had gathered. Everyone stood in neat groups according to which building they had come from. Students were taking attendance to make sure no one was missing. This is impressive organization, Thrumvek admitted. But surely this level of preparation is not necessary for a simple building fire? Dr. Chun looked confused. Simple building. Fire? Oh, I think you misunderstand. We're not just practicing for small fires. We're practicing for major structural fires, chemical fires, electrical fires, and fires that might spread to multiple buildings. She pointed to a group of humans wearing special uniforms. Those are our student emergency response teams. Every dorm has trained students who can handle basic fire suppression, medical emergencies, and evacuation assistance. Students handle fire suppression? Zixka's crystal body was flashing rapid orange patterns. Are they not afraid of being hurt? Well, they're trained for it, Dr. Chun said matter-of-factly. Fire safety is just part of basic education here. Every human child learns how to use fire extinguishers, how to escape from burning buildings, and basic first aid for burn injuries. Mike overheard again and added, Yeah, I've been trained in fire safety since I was 5 years old. My little sister just learned how to stop, drop, and roll last week. She's only 3. The alien students were beginning to understand something terrible. These humans were training their young children to deal with deadly situations. Things that would require professional emergency teams on other worlds were considered basic skills. That even small children should know. A loud whistle blew, and Dr. Chun checked her watch. Excellent! 4 minutes and 15 seconds for complete campus evacuation. That's a new record. 4 minutes for the entire campus? Thrumvek calculated quickly. There are over 30,000 humans here. 32,412 to be exact, Dr. Chun said proudly, including staff and visitors. Emergency evacuation is something we take very seriously here on Terra. As they walked back toward the buildings, Dr. Chun continued explaining. Of course, fire drills are just the beginning. Next week we have our monthly severe weather drill. The week after that is the chemical hazard simulation. Oh, and next month, we have the big one, our annual multi-disaster exercise. Multi-disaster exercise? Aquilin asked weakly. It's wonderful. They simulate multiple emergencies happening at the same time. This year, I think they're planning an earthquake during a chemical fire while a severe thunderstorm is happening. Really tests our coordination skills. Mike got excited again. I heard they might add a power grid failure to make it more realistic. And maybe a water main break. That would be so cool. The alien students walked in stunned silence. These humans were not just surviving on a dangerous world. They were actively practicing for disasters that would end civilizations on other planets. And they enjoyed it. When they got back to their dormitory, Dr. Chun showed them a chart on the wall. Here's our emergency protocol schedule for this semester. As you can see, we have some kind of drill or exercise almost every week. The chart listed dozens of different emergency scenarios. Earthquake response, tornado procedures, hurricane evacuation, chemical spill containment, nuclear emergency protocols, terrorist attack response, pandemic procedures, volcanic eruption plans, flood management, extreme weather survival, nuclear emergency protocols. Zixka's musical tones were barely audible. Oh yes, there are several nuclear power plants in this region. Perfectly safe, but we practice evacuation procedures just in case. Better to be prepared. Terrorist attack response? Thrumvek clicked. Nervously, standard security training. Every student learns basic threat assessment and emergency communication procedures. You never know when those skills might come in handy. Dr. Chun looked at their shocked faces and smiled reassuringly. Don't worry. I know it seems like a lot, but you'll get used to it. Emergency preparedness is just part of daily life here. It becomes second nature after a while. She paused and checked her schedule. Oh, I almost forgot. This afternoon we have a special treat. The local fire department is doing a demonstration of their rapid response capabilities. They'll show you how they handle a typical apartment building. Fire should be very educational. As Dr. Chun left, the 12 alien students sat in their common room in complete silence. They were starting to realize that their year of study on Terra was going to be very different from what they had expected. Outside their window, they could see human students going about their normal day, laughing, studying, playing games, acting like they lived on a perfectly normal, safe planet. But now the alien students knew the truth. These humans lived every day prepared for disasters that would destroy entire worlds. And they called it normal life. 3 weeks into their stay on Terra, the alien students thought they were starting to understand human emergency protocols. They had seen fire drills, earthquake simulations, and chemical spill exercises. They believed they had witnessed the worst that this strange world could offer. They were completely wrong. Dr. Chun came to their dormitory early one morning with unusual excitement in her voice. Great news, everyone! We're getting a wonderful learning opportunity this week. There's a hurricane coming. The alien students looked at each other in confusion. Dr. Chun seemed happy about this news, but they knew that hurricanes were massive atmospheric storms that could destroy entire regions. Dr. Chun, Thrumvek said carefully, should we not evacuate to orbital stations for safety? Dr. Chun laughed. Evacuate? For Hurricane Martha? Oh no, this is perfect. It's only a Category 4 storm, medium-sized, really. Excellent for educational purposes, only a Category 4? Zixka's crystal body flashed alarmed colors. What do you consider a large storm? Well, Category 5 hurricanes can be quite serious. We usually move classes indoors for those, but Category 4 is perfect for demonstration purposes. You'll get to see our weather management protocols in action. Equilin's tentacles curled with worry. Dr. Chun, the atmospheric readings show wind speeds of over 200 miles per hour. The storm covers an area larger than most continents. 210 miles per hour, actually, Dr. Chun corrected cheerfully. And yes, it's quite large. About 400 miles across. Should give us some lovely rain and wind for 3 or 4 days. The alien students had no words. On their homeworlds, such a storm would require complete planetary evacuation. Entire space fleets would be mobilized to move populations to safety. Here, humans were planning to stay and watch. Dr. Chun led them to the university's weather monitoring center. The room was filled with screens showing satellite images of the massive storm approaching the coast. Human students and professors were working calmly at their stations. Tracking the hurricane's movement, Professor Williams, the head of atmospheric sciences, greeted them warmly. "Wonderful timing. This is Hurricane Martha. She's a beautiful example of a typical Atlantic hurricane system." The screen showed a swirling mass of clouds that looked like it could swallow entire star systems. Lightning flashed constantly throughout the storm. The alien students watched in horror as the hurricane moved steadily toward land. "Typical?" Aquilin whispered. "Oh yes, we get several like this every year," Professor Williams explained. "This one is actually quite well behaved. Nice, predictable path, good wind speeds for data collection. Not too much storm surge." "What do you mean by not too much storm surge?" Thrumvek asked. "Only about 15 to 20 feet above normal sea level. Some of the bigger hurricanes can push water 40 or 50 feet inland. This one should just flood the coastal areas for a few days." Mike, the human engineering student they had met before, was working at one of the monitoring stations. "This is so cool," he said excitedly. "I've been tracking Martha for a week. Look at this pressure reading. The eye's perfectly formed." He showed them measurements that indicated atmospheric pressure so low it would be impossible on most worlds. "The pressure drop is amazing. It's like the atmosphere is trying to suck itself into space." Dr. Chun guided them to another section of the monitoring center. "Now, let me show you our hurricane preparedness protocols. This is what makes Terra such an excellent place to study extreme weather management." She pulled up a detailed checklist on a large screen. The list had hundreds of items. Emergency shelter preparation, food and water storage, power grid backup, systems, communication network redundancy, medical facility reinforcement, transportation shutdown procedures. "We've been preparing for Martha all week," Dr. Chun explained. "Every building on campus has been reinforced and supplied. The dining halls have enough food for 2 weeks. All essential systems have backup power. Communication arrays have been secured. You are staying here during the storm?" Zixka's musical tones were high and fearful. "Of course. This is a perfect learning opportunity. We've set up observation posts in the reinforced buildings. Students will take turns monitoring conditions and recording data throughout the storm." Professor Williams added, "Some of our best research comes from direct hurricane observations. You can't really understand these weather systems without experiencing them firsthand." The alien students were led to their dormitory, which was being prepared for the storm. Human maintenance workers were covering all the windows with thick metal sheets. Emergency supplies were being moved into every room. Generators were being tested and positioned. "Your dormitory is rated for Category 5 hurricanes," Dr. Chun explained proudly. "It can withstand winds up to 300 miles per hour and is completely waterproof. You'll be perfectly safe." 300 miles per hour? Equilin's tentacles were completely wrapped around herself now. What kind of winds require that level of protection? Well, the really big hurricanes can get wind speeds over 250 miles per hour. Plus, we sometimes get tornadoes inside hurricanes. Those can have winds up to 400 miles per hour in a small area. Mike appeared with a group of other human students. They were all carrying supplies and looked excited. "Dr. Chun, are we really going to have a hurricane party in the common room?" "Absolutely. It's a Terra University tradition. During every major storm, students gather in the reinforced common areas to share food, play games, and monitor the weather together. It builds community spirit." The alien students watched in disbelief as human students began setting up what they called a hurricane party. Tables were arranged for games, food was laid out, musical instruments appeared, decorations were hung on the walls. "You celebrate during disasters?" Thrumvek asked. "Why not?" said a human student named Sarah. Hurricanes can last for days. Might as well make the best of it. Last year during Hurricane George, we had an amazing party. 3 days of music, games, and great food. The power went out for 2 days, but we had backup generators. The power went out for 2 days? Zixka flashed worried colors. Yeah, George was a Category 5, much bigger than Martha. Winds hit about 260 miles per hour. Took down a lot of power lines. But the backup systems worked perfectly. We never lost essential services. Dr. Chun checked her weather monitoring device. Martha should make landfall tomorrow evening. Perfect timing. We'll get the full experience during the weekend. She showed them the storm's projected path on her tablet. The hurricane was aimed directly at their location. The eye should pass right over us. You'll get to experience the calm in the center of the storm, then the full force of the backwall winds. The backwall winds? Equilin asked weakly. Often. The strongest part of the hurricane. The winds can be 20 to 30 miles per hour faster than the front wall. Quite spectacular to experience. That evening, the alien students sat in their rooms listening to the weather reports. The hurricane was getting stronger as it approached. Land news broadcasts showed coastal cities preparing for impact. But instead of evacuations, they saw humans boarding up windows, stocking supplies, and settling in to wait out the storm. This is insane, Thrumvek clicked to his fellow students. They are treating a planetary-scale disaster as entertainment. Outside their reinforced windows, they could already feel the building swaying slightly as the outer bands of the hurricane arrived. The wind was howling and rain was pounding against the metal storm shutters. Down the hall, they could hear human students laughing and playing music in the common room. Someone was teaching others a song called Hurricane Blues. The humans were actually singing about the storm that was about to try to destroy them. Cause crystal body pulsed with confused colors. These humans are not just surviving on a death world. They are enjoying it. The hurricane was still 12 hours away from full strength, but already the alien students could feel the awesome power of the approaching storm. And the humans were having a party. Tomorrow would bring winds that could level cities, rain that could flood continents, and storm surge that could reshape coastlines. The humans called it a nice medium-sized hurricane and were looking forward to the experience. The alien students were beginning to understand that Terra's classification as a death world was not an error. It was probably an understatement. 2 months had passed since Hurricane Martha, and the alien students thought they had seen everything Terra could offer. They had witnessed emergency drills, survived a major storm, and watched humans treat deadly situations as normal daily life. They believed they finally understood what living on a death world meant. Then came the morning that changed everything. The alien students were eating breakfast in the university dining hall when Dr. Chun's communication device started making urgent beeping sounds. She looked at the screen and smiled. Oh, wonderful. We have a routine wildlife situation developing downtown. Perfect timing for your urban ecology studies. Wildlife situation? Aquilin asked through her tank speakers. Nothing serious. Just some local fauna that wandered into the city center. The animal control department is handling it. Would you like to observe their procedures? It's quite educational. The alien students agreed, thinking they might see something like the small, harmless creatures from their own worlds that occasionally needed to be relocated. They climbed aboard the university transport vehicle and headed toward the city. As they drove through the downtown area, they could see crowds of humans standing behind barriers. Police vehicles with flashing lights blocked several streets. In the distance, they could hear strange, roaring sounds. Dr. Chun, Thrumvek clicked nervously. Those sounds seem quite loud for small animals. Oh, that's just the family calling to each other, Dr. Chun replied casually. They got separated. When they came into the city, animal control is working to reunite them safely. The transport stopped near the police barriers. Dr. Chun led them to where they could get a good view of the situation. What the alien students saw made their various forms of communication fail completely. 3 enormous bears were walking down the main street of the city. Each bear was larger than most vehicles. They had thick brown fur and massive claws. The aliens could see their powerful muscles moving under their fur as they walked. Bears, Dr. Chun explained helpfully. North American brown bears, to be specific, a mother and her 2 cubs. They probably came down from the mountains looking for food. Those are cubs? Zixka's crystal body was flashing rapid panic colors. Well, they're teenagers, really. About 2 years old. Still learning to find food on their own. The mother is teaching them where to look. The alien students watched in horror as animal control officers walked calmly toward the massive creatures. The humans were carrying what looked like simple tools and did not seem afraid at all. Are those officers wearing protective armor? Thrumvek asked. Just their normal uniforms, Dr. Chun said. They're experienced with bear relocation. This happens several times a month during foraging season. Several times a month? Aqualin's tentacles were completely wrapped around herself. Oh yes, we share this area with quite a lot of wildlife. Bears, mountain lions, wolves, elk, moose. Sometimes they wander into town looking for food or water. Perfectly natural behavior. One of the animal control officers was approaching the largest bear. He was speaking to it in a calm, friendly voice while holding what appeared to be a simple device. That's Officer Martinez, Dr. Chun explained. He's our senior bear specialist. He's relocated over 300 bears in the past 5 years, very experienced. Officer Martinez pointed his device at the mother bear and pressed a button. A small dart flew out and struck the bear in the shoulder. The bear looked annoyed, but did not attack. Instead, she sat down and looked sleepy. Tranquilizer dart, Dr. Chun said. Much safer than trying to force them to leave. The bears just take a little nap while we move them back to their territory. The alien students watched as more officers approached the 2 smaller bears. These creatures were still larger than most vehicles and had claws that could tear through metal. But the humans treated them like they were handling domestic pets. Dr. Chun, Thrumvek said carefully, these creatures could easily kill a human. Well, yes, if they wanted to, Dr. Chun agreed. Bears are very powerful animals. But they're usually not interested in hurting people. They just want food and to be left alone. Usually not interested? Zixka's musical tones were very high. Bear attacks are quite rare, maybe 1 or 2 per year in this whole region. Much more likely to be injured in a vehicle accident or by lightning. A crowd of human civilians had gathered to watch the bear relocation. Many of them had small children with them. The children were pointing excitedly at the massive predators and asking their parents questions. Are those children not afraid? Aqualin asked in disbelief. Why should they be afraid? This is educational for them. Most human children learn about local wildlife from an early age. Bear safety is taught in elementary school. Bear safety? Thrumvek clicked rapidly. Basic stuff. Don't run from bears. Make noise when hiking so you don't surprise them. Store food properly when camping. What to do if you encounter one. Standard wilderness education. Mike, the engineering student, appeared next to them. He had heard about the bear situation and come to watch. This is so cool, he said. I've never seen bears this close to campus before. The cubs are huge. They must be eating really well this year. You are not concerned about dangerous predators in your city? Thrumvek asked. Dangerous? Nah, they're just bears. Now, if it was a grizzly bear or a polar bear, that would be different. Those guys are seriously dangerous. But these are just brown bears. Pretty chill, usually. There are more dangerous types of bears, Aqualin whispered. Oh yeah, Mike said enthusiastically. Grizzly bears are massive. Like twice the size of... These guys and polar bears are even bigger. I saw a polar bear once when I was visiting Alaska. Absolutely incredible creature. Must have weighed 1,500 pounds. Dr. Chun nodded. Mike's right. We're fortunate that our local bear population is relatively mild-mannered. The bears in some regions can be much more aggressive. By now. All 3 bears were sleeping peacefully. A large truck with a crane arrived. The animal control officers began loading the unconscious bears into special transport containers. "Where will they take them?" Zixka asked. "Back to their natural habitat in the mountains, about 50 miles from here. They'll wake up in a few hours, perfectly fine, and hopefully stay in the wilderness where they belong." Officer Martinez walked over to speak with Dr. Chun. "All secure, Doc. These guys were probably attracted by the garbage from the street festival last weekend. We'll release them near Sunset Ridge. Any problems?" Dr. Chun asked. "Nope, very cooperative bears. The mother was a little groggy from nursing, but no issues. Should be our last family group this month unless we get an early frost that drives them down looking for food." After the officer left, Dr. Chun turned to address a group of human children who had been watching. "Now, who can tell me why the bears came into the city?" Several small hands shot up. "They were hungry," one child called out. "That's right." "And what should you do if you see a bear?" "Tell an adult." Another child shouted. "Don't run," called a third. "Excellent. You've all been paying attention in your wildlife safety classes." The alien students listened to this exchange in stunned silence. Human children were being taught how to interact with creatures that could kill them with a single swipe of their claws. And the children thought it was normal. As they rode back to the university, Dr. Chun continued her educational commentary. "That was a perfect example of routine urban wildlife management. Of course, bears are just one type of animal we deal with. We also get mountain lions, wolves, coyotes, wild boar, and occasionally elk or moose." "Mountain lions?" Thrumvek's voice cracked. "Beautiful cats?" "Very stealthy hunters. They usually avoid humans, but sometimes they follow deer herds into suburban areas. We relocate about a dozen each year." "And wolves?" Equilin asked weakly. "Pack. Hunters very intelligent? They rarely come into the city, but hikers encounter them regularly in the wilderness. Standard wildlife safety protocols apply." Mike added, "Last year a mountain lion got into the university library. Just wandered in through an open door. Campus security had to call animal control to remove it. The students got some amazing photos." Predator was inside the university library?" Zixka's crystal body was strobing panic colors. "Yeah, it was awesome. The mountain lion just sat there looking at the books like it was trying to study. Didn't bother anyone. Very polite cat." As they arrived back at campus, the alien students realized they had just witnessed something impossible. Humans lived in a world where massive predators wandered through their cities. And instead of fear or panic, they treated it as a routine. Maintenance issue, these were not just dangerous animals. These were creatures that could hunt and kill humans. And humans shared their living space with them voluntarily. The alien students were beginning to understand that Terra was not just a death world because of its weather and geology. It was a death world because it was filled with creatures that could end human life in seconds. And humans called it routine wildlife management. It was the end of the semester, and the 12 alien students had to present their final research projects. They had spent months studying Terra's emergency protocols, weather systems, and wildlife management. They thought they understood what made Earth a death world and how humans survived on such a dangerous planet. They were about to discover they had understood nothing at all. The presentation took place in the university's largest auditorium. Human students and professors filled the seats, eager to hear what the alien visitors had learned about their world. Dr. Chun sat in the front row, smiling proudly at her students. Thrumvek was the first to present. His logical Vorthek mind had organized all their experiences into clear categories. He stood at the podium with his 4 arms holding different data tablets. "We have studied Terra for 1 full rotation around its star," he began. "We have witnessed emergency protocols that prepare humans for disasters that would destroy entire civilizations on our worlds. We have experienced weather systems with power that could reshape continents. We have observed wildlife management for predators that could hunt and kill your species." The human audience listened politely. Some students nodded in agreement. "Our conclusion," Thrumvek continued, "is that Terra's classification as a death world is completely accurate. This planet is one of the most dangerous places in the known galaxy. The fact that humans not only survive here, but thrive here, demonstrates incredible strength and adaptability. The alien students expected applause or gasps of amazement from the human audience. Instead, they heard something unexpected. Laughter, not cruel laughter, but the kind of gentle, amused laughter that humans made when they found something cute or innocent. Dr. Chun stood up and walked to the podium. Thank you, Thrumvek. That was a wonderful presentation. But I think there might be a small misunderstanding that we should clear up. She activated the auditorium's main display screen. A star map appeared, showing the local region of the galaxy. Class. Can anyone tell our alien friends where Terra ranks in terms of planetary danger classification within human space? A human student raised her hand. Terra is classified as a Class 2 garden world in the Human Colonial Safety Index. The alien students looked at each other in confusion. Zixka's crystal body flashed confused colors. I'm sorry, Dr. Chun said. I should have explained this earlier. Terra is not actually considered a dangerous world by human standards. It's where we send our children for safe, comfortable education. She clicked to the next slide. It showed a list of human colonial worlds, with their safety classifications. These are some of our actual frontier worlds. Kepler 442b, for example, experiences sentient plasma storms that can think and hunt. The colonists there have to live in underground cities because the surface is too dangerous. Mike, the engineering student, raised his hand. My cousin lives on Kepler 442b. She says the plasma storms try to break into their shelters by learning the weaknesses of their defenses. They have to change their entire city design every few months. Dr. Chun nodded. Exactly. And then there's Vol 359C, where the gravity fluctuates randomly. Colonists have to wear special equipment at all times because they never know if they'll suddenly weigh 3 times normal or start floating away. Another student added, My brother is stationed on Vol 359C with the Colonial Marines. He says, Last week, the gravity reversed completely for 6 hours. Everyone had to hang on to the ceiling until it switched back. The alien students were staring in shock. Dr. Chun continued clicking through slides. Glee 667C has weather systems that include metallic rain and crystalline tornadoes. Ross 128b has plant life that actively hunts humans and can coordinate attacks across entire continents. Proxima Centauri b has solar radiation that changes the genetic structure of any living thing exposed to it. The genetic structure? Aquilin whispered. Oh yes. Colonists on Proxima Centauri b have to take special medicine to prevent unwanted mutations. Though some of the mutations are actually quite useful. Enhanced strength, improved reflexes, resistance to radiation. Professor Williams stood up from the audience. Dr. Chun, should we tell them about the university's sister campuses? Excellent idea, Dr. Chun smiled. Class, Terra University has sister campuses on several colonial worlds. Our students often transfer between campuses for specialized studies. She showed pictures of other university campuses. One appeared to be built inside a massive underground cavern. Another looked like it was floating in space. A third seemed to be constructed inside some kind of energy field. This is our campus on Europa 7, Dr. Chun explained. The entire university is built inside a volcano because the surface temperature averages -200 degrees. Students there study extreme temperature survival and volcanic geology. And this is our Mars campus, she continued. Mars University specializes in atmospheric engineering and desert survival. Students learn to live in an environment with almost no air and regular sandstorms that can last for months. Regular sandstorms that last for months? Zixka's musical tones were barely audible. Martian weather is quite dramatic, Professor Williams explained. But it's excellent preparation for students who want to work on desert worlds. Much more challenging than Terra's mild climate. A human student in the audience called out, Professor, what about the new campus on Titan IV? Dr. Chun's eyes lit up. Oh yes, Titan University is our newest campus. It's built on a world with sentient weather patterns. The storms there can actually think and make decisions about where to go and what to do. The storms can think. Thrumvek clicked in disbelief. Fascinating phenomenon, Professor Williams said. The atmospheric conditions on Titan IV have somehow developed a form of collective intelligence. Students there have to negotiate with the weather systems to plan outdoor activities. Mike raised his hand again. Dr. Chun, isn't there a waiting list to transfer to Titan University? I heard they only accept students who have survived at least 3 major disasters. That's correct. Titan University is quite selective. They want students who are prepared for the unique challenges of studying on a world where the weather can hold grudges. The alien students sat in stunned silence as the human class continued discussing their various university campuses located on worlds that sounded like nightmare scenarios. Dr. Chun turned back to address the alien students directly. I hope this helps clarify things. Terra is actually one of the safest worlds in human space. We chose it for your exchange program specifically because it's so stable and comfortable. Stable and comfortable? Equilin's tentacles were trembling. Oh yes. Terra has lovely, predictable weather patterns. The wildlife is well documented and generally peaceful. The geological activity is minor and easily manageable. It's perfect for young students who are just learning to live independently. Zixka finally found her voice. Dr. Chun, if Terra is a safe world for humans, what classification would it have in human terms? Dr. Chin thought for a moment. I suppose we would call it a garden world. Very peaceful and stable. Perfect for raising families and providing children with a comfortable, secure environment. The auditorium fell silent as the alien students processed this information. Everything they had experienced, the emergency drills, the hurricanes, the predatory wildlife, the earthquakes, all of this was considered mild and safe by human standards. What would you call a dangerous world? Thrumvek asked quietly. Dr. Chun smiled. Well, there are some worlds where humans can't live at all. Worlds with acid atmospheres or surfaces that are on fire or gravity so strong it would crush you instantly. We call those uninhabitable, but we're working on technology to colonize those too. The alien students looked at each other with a new understanding. They had spent a year studying what they thought was an impossible death world where humans somehow managed to survive against incredible odds. Instead, they had been visiting a human vacation resort. As they prepared their final reports to send back to their homeworlds, the alien students realized they needed to completely rewrite their assessments of human capabilities. Terra was not a testament to human survival skills. Terra was where humans sent their children to play. The real question was no longer how humans survived on a death world. The question was, what kind of species considered worlds with sentient storms and hunting plasma to be appropriate places to build universities? The alien students began to understand that their governments had made a terrible mistake in their assessment of humanity. They had not underestimated human survival abilities. They had underestimated human existence itself. And somewhere in the galaxy, on worlds where the weather could think and the gravity could kill, human students were attending classes and complaining about homework, just like students everywhere. The aliens were going home with a warning that would change everything.